I am not seeing us though, John, on the Marquee Show page.
Take a second to propagate there. So,
Okay, gotcha. So we should be up here and we're recording in progress. All right. So tonight I am happy to have our good friend from the San Diego, California area, Mr. Chad Blackburn from Almost Famous DJs, also a previous host of the Marquee Show, starting with our Marquee Show karaoke night. And last year we were thrilled to have him as our show host. And then our very good friend, Mr. Michael Dussault from Electro Voice. And we're going to be talking about all things NAMM this year, all the cool stuff that came out that is happening and it should be out on the streets very shortly. Now, John, this says this meeting is being recorded and content is being sent through. Should I click OK or will
you
this
should be
go
able, yeah,
away?
you can click OK so it goes
Click
away.
OK. Got it. All right. Very good. Now I can see everybody. There's not a bar through your faces. Fantastic. So let's talk overall about NAMM in general. And I'm going to go to Chad because Chad was out and about. And we're also going to talk about some of the press releases that I got from various manufacturers and different things that I saw. And so let's start, Chad, with let's talk about lighting. So, did you by chance see anything new or exciting? I know that American DJ had a bunch of new stuff out. Did you get a chance to head over there?
I did. I popped in. I know I was seeing a lot of like lighting boards, the boards that are up with lighting. I think those look super cool. The thing that I really enjoyed, and in fact I even bought one, was this light bar. It has like 12 lights. They all move independently and it can
Okay.
create almost a wave situation. They would throw some fog in on it and it just caused a really cool effect that I just had to have. So I picked up one of those.
Now, was it
Uh,
American DJ or?
no. So the one I got was actually Chauvet makes one. I don't know if American
Okay.
DJ made one. I saw a few of them at a couple of different spots. I can't tell you specifically which one. I can't remember because I saw a few of them, a few different manufacturers making them.
Right.
But
Because
I thought that
Chauvet actually was not in attendance this year. Chauvet's gone in a different direction. They're flying their dealers out for like a private showing of their new products, and that's they've just chosen to step away from NAM, and that's that. So they were there, they weren't there, but someone that was back was in music was back this year for the first time. I'm going to say in about 4 or 5 years, and I know they were showing off their new rain stuff. Did you get a chance to poke your head into the or into the in music room?
I did. I did
Okay,
pop it there as well. Wasn't really looking at controllers this year, so I didn't take a deep dive into it. Did see some cool stuff, some cool skins, obviously on some of the controllers. But yeah, I didn't really put my hands on them, but I definitely saw a lot of commotion in there. So a lot of people
gotcha.
interested.
Well, I know Rain has a new platter out
Hmm.
because our good friend DJ Flipside was supposed to go out and didn't make it out. But again, it's exciting to see in music being back in the groove. And if you don't know, in music owns Newmark, owns Rain, they own Denon, um, they own. Um, I can't think of it. Light to sound programming. Why can't I think of their name now? It'll come to me in a second.
I think
But
they own Alto also.
they own Alto, and I cannot think of Sound Switch. That's what I was thinking of. I kept
Okay.
thinking Sound Sonic, which is a DJ company, but they own Sound Switch as well. And then they also own Stanton, which has been on the quieter side of things as well. So it's good to see them out and about. Going back to lighting, though, Mixware had a bunch of stuff under their Color Key brand that they came out, and one of the things I brought it up before, and we had Color Key on the show last fall. Their new LED kind of puck lights are a fantastic battery operated, easy to control light. And one of the things, as I told the two of you before we went on air, is they came up with the simplest, what I think most brilliant thing is that they put together a very strong magnetic clip that you can put on any drop ceiling, so you can actually hang lights really easily in the ceiling. The lights are only like 6 pounds, so it was great to see that. Eliminator has about 5 new products out. They have this thing called the Fantasy Effect Light. They've got an electron bar, which is a LED fixture. Their Vortex 150, which is a barrel minning scanner. Couple other things. So you'll definitely want to go to the ADJA Elation social media pages and check that out as well. So there was that. There's been a whole bunch of really cool stuff that came out this past year. Deck Saver, which is part of the Mixware brands. Obviously, with new controllers comes new Deck Saver covers. So if you guys love the old school covers from the Technique 1200s, that's exactly what Deck Saver has been kind of mimicking. The only bad part about it is that it doesn't actually clip into it. It lays on top of it, which is super nice. So if you have a studio set up and you really want to keep the dust off of your stuff, it does a really, really great job. So no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then this was definitely the year for new audio, and we are super excited to have Mike Dussault from Electro Voice there, and they debuted their new EV70s and 90s, which was a very anticipated, long-awaited arrival, because some people have loved the EV30s and the 50s and have just point blank said they wish they just had a little more for a little bit bigger room, and you guys listened, and that's it. So Mike, tell us about the 70s and the 90s. What can DJs and live entertainers expect out of these?
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, for years, I mean, the 30s and the 50s have been very dominant in their space, right? They look great.
Absolutely.
They set up easy. They're more than enough for your average event, right? But not
Yep.
everybody does average events. Some people
Mhm.
want to go above and beyond and really create an atmosphere of really in your face audio, sort of speak, right? And that's fine. There's different tools for different jobs. And at the end of the day, right, there's a reason why Electro Voice makes, over 300 different powered loudspeakers, right?
Sure.
There is no one size fits all approach, and that's the one thing that's important to remember is finding the right tool for the right job, and making sure that you get the right thing for what you're trying to do. So over the years, yeah, absolutely, there was a need for a larger and louder column array system on the market. There were few that had 15-inch subs out there, had a little more output. Everything comes with a cost,
Sure.
whether that's an actual cost as far as, dollars and cents, or it could be even the size and weight of things. So in the end, the Evolve 70 and 90 were designed to take things to that next level. Essentially what the 50 was or the 30 was, making it bigger, louder, and performing at a higher level. And that's exactly what we did. So we wanted to catch up to the market, obviously, as far as the 15-inch subs were concerned. There are a lot of
So let's back up a
systems
second.
out
So
there. Sure.
so give me the specs of the Evolve 50s as most DJs know them.
Yeah, sure. Real quick, on the 50s, you've got 8 3.5-inch neodymium drivers. That's got a 12-inch subwoofer. Plays down to about 37 hertz in a frequency
Okay.
range. That's a 10 dB down spec for those that know what that means. 1,000-watt amplifier, and I believe, let me just look this up real quick. The max SPL on a Evolve 50 is 127 dB max SPL. Okay, so
Okay.
that's not quiet, but it's not. There's room for more. Put it that way,
Gotcha.
right?
And what most DJs are going to go is it's a 12-inch woofer. I mean,
for
let's just
sure,
cut to the chase and go
and that
from
was
there.
designed with the average wedding in mind. The
Sure.
average wedding in mind, right? 150 guests, give or take, right? Your typical ballroom, one man, load in, load out, real
Sure.
easy, quick and simple and clean, right? That's
And
what
we'll
the
get
50
into
was
this.
designed to
That's
do.
a two-way or a three-way speaker?
It is a two-way, but I will tell you, I mean, I guess we can get into that later.
We'll go through the
Yeah, the
definitions of
two-way
that, but
versus three-way thing. Yeah, I mean, these are different means to the same end at the end of the day, and
right.
we can get into some engineering stuff, and I'll blow your mind. But I'll try
Okay.
not to go too Ben Stowe on the bit for you
Gotcha.
because he's not here to defend himself. So,
So now
um,
we've got the 70s, and the 70s the specs are a 15-inch woofer.
those have a 15-inch sub and
Okay.
8 4.7-inch drivers.
Okay.
So a considerable amount of more surface area in the top, right? Which increases your ability to reproduce mid-range. Everything's bigger, right? So you just amplify everything that you're doing, and go from there. And up until about a week ago, I don't remember ever hearing a single word about it being a two-way speaker or a three-way speaker.
Right.
Sometimes certain companies have a great way of amplifying a message that can be a good selling point, but it doesn't invalidate suddenly everything that was ever made and
Now,
the reasons
are there
why.
other manufacturers that have a column array that is a three-way?
I don't know. I know of
Okay.
several that are two ways, but
Gotcha.
honestly, it's such a useless thing. It's if I'm gonna use an analogy, it's like if a DJ decides, hey, I'm gonna play Bruno Mars next, whatever song it is. Does anyone give a rat's ass if you play it off a CD or a digital file? Like, who
Right.
cares? You played this song. As long as the quality of the audio is the same, who cares
Right.
what how you got there, right?
Hmm.
You did your job, right? So that's essentially what we're doing, because when we talk about audio, everything you do is a series of compromises. Three-way systems are perfectly valid, as are two-way systems. My argument, is really quick. Okay, well, if three-way systems are in its of itself better than two-way systems, if we just take that nonsense as a blanket truth, then why wouldn't you just go to a four-way system? Because that must be better, right? If three-way
Is
is
that
better than
like the
two-way,
old
isn't
Spinal
four-way better?
Tap
Where
thing?
does it end? Should it be five-way, six-way, 10-way,
Is
12-way?
that like the Spinal Tap bit? This one goes
Yeah,
to 11.
exactly. At what point are we talking about diminishing returns? So we can get into the specifics of why we made those choices, and I can certainly explain that. But at the end of the day, Evolve 70 was made to to meet the needs of our customers. It's has more output. It's dramatically lighter. It looks fantastic. It's the same setup you're used to with the Evolve stuff. It's packed with features. We gave it all kinds of upgrades, and it's at a price that's cheaper than the majority of the 15-inch column systems already on the market. So we check every single box,
Yeah,
but
it
you can't
sounds
make
like it. Yeah.
everybody happy. Look, at the end of the day, we're talking about people that have brand allegiances one way or the
Hmm.
other, and that's fine. We all have our preferences, but let's not delude ourselves into thinking that makes anything else illegitimate. I mean, that's fine. If you like what you like, that's great. I mean, I have hardcore, you won't catch me dead on any other motorcycle other than a Ducati, but I'm a snob, right? And that's the way
Okay.
it is, right? But it doesn't mean that other motorcycles are trash. It's just, this is
Sure.
what I like. And so,
Gotcha.
I think it's a way of people trying to validate their own purchases too. If you just invested in a system 6
Sure.
months ago and suddenly there's a new hot thing, when you don't feel so great about making that decision.
And
But
I'll be riding a Harley Softail this April. So
see,
there
and
you
and
go.
and Harley suck, so they're just totally
Wow.
invalid. You
Wow.
see how you see
I
how
know. I
ridiculous
hear
that is.
you.
No,
I totally hear you.
exactly. You see how
Gotcha.
Harleys are fantastic bikes. It's just not
Sure.
my style. Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. So then the output on a 50 is about how many watts, or
On
what are we
on
looking
the
at?
70, that
No,
is.
let's go to the 50 and then go to the 70, then the 90. So the
Okay.
50,
As far as the output, the
yeah,
the max SPL
right.
on a 50 is 127 decibels.
Okay.
And then if you jump to the 70, it's quite a bit more, 133.
Okay.
So that's a 6 decibel jump. Um, It doesn't sound
And
like a lot on paper, but 6 decibels is a noticeable increase. That's
sure.
huge. We perceive as humans a 10 decibel change as doubling of volume, right?
Gotcha.
Or having a volume if you're going the opposite way. A
Sure.
10 decibel change, that's how humans perceive that audio. It's not a linear scale, it's logarithmic. So
Gotcha. I was married. I understand the decibel changes in tone, so I
ex-
get it.
right.
And what
So
about then go to the 90? What's the 90 at?
so the 90 then, so the reason we did that is because what we know is from say our EKX family or ETX families, as an example, when given the choice between a 15 and 18-inch subwoofer, customers overwhelmingly choose 18-inch subs. That's just a fact. Even though everyone was asking us for a 15, no one had really thought, well, why don't we just go all the way with this thing? So that's exactly what we did. The Evolve 90 takes it one step further, even louder, get up to 134 dB, playing even lower down to 28 hertz. Still with the same huge suite of features, and obviously that's larger and things like that. But we even managed to make the 18-inch version, the 90, still lighter than many of the 15-inch versions out there. So that's a design, and paying attention to the materials used, using the right things in the right places. I think some people have been looking at the specs and going, "Wow, that's way too light," and assuming it's a plastic sub. I can assure you it is absolutely not a plastic sub. We
Okay.
don't make plastic subs of any kind in any family that we make. There's just too much flex when it comes to that. You lose a lot of horsepower that way. So there's real engineering reasons behind that. But the 90 then offers a step up from that, and both available in black or white. And at the end of the day, we're not charging more or less for either color.
Gotcha.
We just pick your poison and away you go.
Okay. Very good. And these will be out on the street about when?
Summer 2025. Our dealers do take pre-orders now, which I
Okay.
would highly encourage you to do, despite all the debates about them. There is no debate for those that heard it at NAM. I would encourage anyone to take a listen. These things stomp, and the buzz is out, and the buzz is good. And
And you
I,
will be at the MEX show in Vegas, correct? Yes?
yeah, actually, next week we're first off going to be at DJ Collective. There's a small
Okay.
collective event down in Phoenix that we're going to be at, so that will be the next show we do, and then MEX shortly following.
Gotcha.
Um,
So in the next 4 weeks or 3 weeks, even if you're hearing this and you're in the community and you're going to be out in Vegas, you can definitely hear it. And I'm sure you'll be repped by a dealer right there, and they can place their order right there if they wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick up a phone, get in line because they are hot. I can tell you several dealers have placed some very, very sizable purchase orders and then had to order more already before we even ship because it's a hot ticket.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And on the subject of new audio lines, Chad has a friendly relationship with our friends over at QSC, and he has not only heard the new K series, but he's actually an owner of. He got an advanced pair of them. So tell us your experience with the new QSCs, Chad.
Yeah, so I was blessed enough to be able to pick up the first pair out of the warehouse. So because I live close to the where they're being made, I went down and got the call that they were ready, and I said I could be there in an hour. So drove down there, picked up the first set, and was super excited to get home, set them up, and try them out. And I've always been an EV guy. I think I own, 20 Evolve 50s, every time.
Bragger,
Or,
bragger.
yeah, no. Each one of my team members, as soon as they get hired on with us, we give them an Evolve 50. If they're doing DJ stuff, they get two. If they're doing karaoke or trivia, they get one. And we've just always loved them. I love the fact that they're easy to load. Some of my female DJs can lift them up and put them in their cars. And so I've made that very, I've been I've been very noisy about that for the last few years about my love for Evolve 50s, and I think that's kind of what grabbed the attention of QSC. They said, we're coming out with a product similar. We know that you do a lot of mobile events, and we would love for you to kind of give us your feedback and tell us what you think. And I said I would definitely love to do that. So I went down, picked up a set, and for the last few months, I've been testing them out. And every event that I do, I've let my employees use them and take them out for karaoke nights and trivia nights. And I love them. I think they pack a little bit more of a punch than the Evolve 50s. So it's kind of, I love the Evolve 50s, but I've been told, I'm not a big, like, I don't dive into the specs as much. I kind of, if they can get the job done, I like them. I've done events with 150 people. I've done events with 200 people, and I've never had a complaint. I've never been asked, hey, can you get louder? But I did want that speaker that maybe, okay, if I do, because we do bigger events where I've had to bring 4 Evolve 50s, where maybe I can just bring 2 speakers that go a little bit louder and give a little bit more boom. So I was, dabbling with the idea of getting the RFC Evox 12s. And I was told that those can definitely pack more of a punch than the Evolve 50s. Again, held off and ended up, not too long later getting this QSC demo, and I feel like those were perfect for that kind of event. I have taken those to some of my bigger events and used those, and definitely pack more of a punch than the Evolve 50s. But then guess what pops out? The Evolve 70s and 90s. So
Right.
I'm excited to get my hands on a pair of 90s and see, obviously play with those. And like I said, I would be a proud owner of both. I'm not, if there's something out there, if someone's going to offer me, to test out their speakers, of course I'm going to, I'm not going to say no, I don't want those speakers. Yuck.
Sure.
I don't like money.
Different tools for different jobs, right? I mean,
Exactly.
Right, but let's even if you wouldn't mind, Mike. So the new QSC, according to the notes that I have here, is equipped with a 300-watt amp. Okay, and
3,000, I believe they're
3,000.
claiming.
Excuse me. You're right. You're 100% right. Their QSC patented leaf waveguard combined with a true 1-inch compression driver, 2 4-inch mid-range drivers, and a 12-inch sub. So what size amp is in the 50, the 70, the 90?
Well, I will answer that question, but with a big old asterisk.
Okay, yeah.
Why do you care?
I'm just trying to just kind of
And I don't mean to
show
put you
people.
on the spot.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I don't
no,
mean to
no.
put you on the spot.
I'm just trying to give people equal
I'm trying to
time, so
highlight a
speak.
very common question that DJs ask, right?
Yeah.
How many
no.
watts does it do? Right?
Right.
What I need people to understand, and I can't yell this loud enough, wattage is not a measure of loudness. We don't
Right.
listen to watts. Wattage is a measure of consumption of power. Okay? That's how much power is being delivered to the loudspeaker. Okay? But loudspeakers all have different efficiencies. And a good efficient loudspeaker will take the same amount of applied power and make it louder. We listen to decibels.
Right.
And that figure is max SPL, right? So to
Okay.
answer your question, an Evolve 50, for instance, is a 1,000-watt amplifier, right?
Okay.
The 70 and 90 have a 2,000-watt amplifier. The QSC,
Right.
they're claiming a 3,000-watt amplifier.
Right.
None of that matters a damn bit.
Okay.
It used to matter back when people were building passive systems, right? And
Right.
you would have a passive loudspeaker, and you would need to match it with an appropriate amplifier. For powered systems, that doesn't matter anymore. The manufacturer has already done the work of saying this amp works with these loudspeakers that are in it. It's done. You don't have to
Gotcha.
worry about that. Now, as manufacturers, we still have to play that game because people ask. But the true measure of loudness is in maximum SPL. We listen to decibels. In fact, I would way rather have a loudspeaker that gets to 133 decibels that has a 2-watt amplifier than a loudspeaker that gets to 125 decibels that has a 10,000-watt amplifier. It doesn't
Gotcha.
mean anything. At the end of the day, it's about efficiency and how it's taking that applied power and being efficient in turning it into loudness. So, don't mean to be
No, no,
harsh on
no.
you there,
No,
but
it's all
it's
educational.
important. It's super important, and I have that same comeback with anyone who asks that question, whoever it is. Like, how many watts is it? My question is, why do you think that matters? Tell me. And then we have that conversation, right? And it's a learning opportunity, because nothing I want more, and most of my manufacturer friends, like, I know all the QSC dudes and the RCF dudes and the JBL dudes, like, it's a small industry, man, and we could all be working for the next one tomorrow, right? So
Sure.
it's really important that we get across that idea of SPL, loudness. How, what are we listening to? Not how much power is it consuming? That's not good. We want low consumption, high output. So
Gotcha.
And see,
Now,
as the DJ guy that doesn't care, doesn't really pay attention to specs and stuff. Back in the day when I was getting started, I had a pair of, I would have the JBLs up on the stands, and I would always be worried about blowing those things. Like, I'd hear a weird noise and you'd hear, oh shoot, you blew your speaker, and the fact that I've had all of these years with Evolve 50s, and I pushed them, and I've never had a blown speaker, speaks volumes for me as a consumer. Like, I want something that I can go and I can push, and it's not going to blow on me. It's not going to die. So once I can get that trust in a speaker, and whether it be a brand or whatever it is, that's what's important to me.
yeah,
And
it's absolutely the right way to do it. Gold star for Chad. Absolutely, good job, buddy. I think a lot of, even if you look at the spec sheets in a detailed way, you may see something like 3,000 watts. You break that down, it's a three-way system. Okay, that's 1,000 watts per channel. If you try to send 1,000 watts to that 1-inch high frequency driver, you would shoot that thing through 10 layers of concrete cinder block. The thing, you can't deliver that much power to a loudspeaker like that. So if you look closely on the spec sheet, you'll see a little asterisk at the bottom, and it will say independent of limiter. Uh, Independent of limiter circuitry. Essentially, there is an amplifier in there that's capable of delivering it, but the manufacturers limit the amplifier power to an appropriate amount for the speakers that are in it. So it's not really using all that power, even if the power is there. So again, just another reason why wattage just isn't something to worry about.
gotcha. And on the subject of speakers, so JBL also had two new of the PRX 900 series speakers. They had the PRX 925 two-way, and then they had the PRX 935 three-way. LD also debuted what they call a Mela, the modular all-around intelligent line array. So there's no question that this particular show, there was it seemed like a plethora of audio without question, between QSC and LD and JBL and you. Um, and then that leads me to our next thing, which a DJ orientated social media influencer recently brought up his concern about a two-way system versus a three-way system. And it sounds like his biggest issue is when you are both pumping the sound system and you have to get on the microphone for introductions, or if you're a mitzvah DJ or you're in there. His concern was overdriving a two-way system, whereas a three-way system has, I guess, more headroom.
Sure.
So any you want to
No,
talk
I
about
mean,
that?
headroom is flat out a measure of maximum SPL, right?
Okay.
If I have a loudspeaker that's rated at 133 decibels and I'm running that thing at 133 decibels and I try to squeeze more out of it, it doesn't have it. That's why it says maximum SPL, right? So now if I'm running at 130 and I've got a little more headroom, great. If I've got 127 that I like to run at and I've got more headroom, great. Headroom is really just how much more you can get out of it. I think, it can be the case that three-way systems have more efficiency in the mid-range,
Okay.
right? But I will tell you that a system that has 8 4.7-inch mid-range drivers, mid-highs, has far more headroom than something smaller that doesn't have that, right? What a three-way system can do is just break up and ask less of the individual components, that there's a smaller set of frequencies that they're being asked to reproduce. But again, depending on the efficiency of those speakers, right? There's no direct comparison here. Like that analogy I just, tried to use. If at the end of the day you want to make sure that the mic is heard, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, right? It's, how are you using the mic? What mic are you using? Are you putting a low pass or a high pass filter on the mic and keeping it clear? There's a million different things that go into it, and there is no apples to apples there. At the end of the day, listen to the dang thing and then be the judge. Because I can guarantee you, you're going to be heard just fine on a system that's capable of producing much higher SPLs, right? I mean, that's the headroom that you're looking for. So,
bottom line is a DJ doesn't have to be concerned about not being heard clearly on a mic while the tunes are pumping with a two-way sound system. You'll be heard just fine unless you as the operator are really doing something wonky.
It depends on the two-way system, and it depends on the three-way system. There's all kinds of Dave Rat is famous for, I don't know if you know Dave Rat, but he was the front of house engineer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's very well regarded in the industry as being one of the top front of house engineers. He does some really innovative stuff, and on some Chili Peppers tours, he's even taking the vocals out of the PA entirely, the main PA, and had a separate PA for just the vocals because he wanted that extra clarity and headroom. So even at the highest levels, it's depending on what your goals are, right? And there's no way to quantify any of that. You got to decide for yourself and try it for yourself. There's great systems. I mean, I'm sure, Dave Rat has access to any gear in the world he wants, right? And still decided, you know what, I'm going to make a change here. I wanted even more headroom for these vocals. So I'm going to take them out of that PA entirely, and I'm going to do something different. There's just no obvious way to answer that other than it. Ben says it all the time, but it's the most true statement in audio. The answer to almost every audio question is it depends, right?
Okay.
So people can only consider it and listen to them, what they have and what gear they're using and what their needs are, The good news for you, Chad, real quick, just as a side note, we are actually holding our annual sales kickoff meeting in San Diego in a couple weeks. So I might have to have you come by and say hello and give you a private demo. How's that?
I would love that. Absolutely.
All right, we'll connect afterwards. Make sure that happens. So stay
Very
tuned
good.
for what Chad thinks.
Gotcha. And on that subject, Chad, because we got about 5 or so minutes left, what other things other than what we've talked about already did you see at NAMM, or your overall experience, even if it wasn't gear related? Artists you saw, DJs you met, just your overall NAMM experience.
Well, I got to meet a pretty famous DJ from actually your area, LG. I don't know if you've heard of him.
He's a hack. He uses the sync button from what I've heard.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
So obviously, he came down and stayed with me, and Lance is great because he's kind of like my dictionary of DJs. I hear a lot of edits. I run across a lot of DJ names and DJ pools, but putting their names to their faces, it's just not my thing. I don't know, but Lance is right there to tell me, yo, this is Little John's DJ. So I got to meet some really cool people. We went to a Club Killers party. That was a lot of fun. I got to stand right next to Stevie Wonder as he played the harmonica, and
I did that too. I kept waving at him, and he just didn't. It's like he didn't even see me.
Exactly, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that was cool. Ultimate Ears brought in Digital Underground. That was really cool to see. I met Michael Jackson's drummer, Sugarfoot.
Okay.
So yeah, just the all-around experience. meeting people, doing just being there and around all the new gear, and everybody was great. I love getting there and just networking. That's my biggest
Good.
thing. I met up with you that year, just to walk around
Yeah.
with you, network.
And I know
That's
Kubert was there this year too, and Jazzy Jeff was there. I don't know if
Oh yeah, I got a
Z-Trip
picture of
made it out
Jazzy
or
Jeff.
not, but yeah. I don't know if you saw Mike, but we actually, because I know you're a huge Prince fan, we had DJ Diamond the artist, on maybe, I don't know, just before Christmas, and he was Prince's DJ out on tour for 6 years, I think. So super,
Awesome.
super
What
good
era
guy.
was that? Do you know?
It was after the symbol. Um, I can look it up, or I'll send you a link to the
So
YouTube
early
for the
90s,
show.
maybe like the
Yeah.
gold
So he's toured with a whole bunch
experience.
of people. And I actually met him. I went and saw Tone Loc and Freedom Williams at a little impromptu city winery thing, and had worked my way backstage to see about having Tone Loc and Freedom Williams come out for Marquee. And of course, Tony from Ultimate Ears is, of course, friends with Diamond. And when we started playing Connect the Dots, we knew that we had mutual friends, and that was that. And so we had him on as a guest. I'm going to say about a month ago. It's just before Christmas, so I think it was our last show before Christmas. But I'll send you the link because he had really cool things to say about. He said that he went into Paisley Park just as a DJ, and Prince really showed him how to produce, how to become an artist, and so he learned an awful lot from Prince. So it was pretty. It was a pretty cool interview.
That's
So
cool. I mean,
yeah.
being in Minneapolis, you're right? We've had a lot of people that work for us that used to work for Prince, so there's a lot of good stories. We could do a whole show on that another time.
Oh yeah.
But
We'll get
yeah, we
Mars on. We'll get Mike Walter on, and no one will get a word in edgewise.
yeah, right.
So yeah, those two
I'm
is
all
our
in.
definite fans. So anything else you can think of? Anything you saw, Mike, that may not be audio related, but cool stuff DJ should be on the lookout for? That I know you were tied up with EV, but I'm sure you did a quick lap around the block, so to speak.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of gear that I love, other than maybe, I mean, maybe not DJ stuff, but as a musician, I really dig some of the guitars and stuff that came out. One of our endorsers, Corey Wong, which shout out to him. I think that's a name that the DJ community should start to get to know a little bit. He's a
Okay.
Minneapolis guitar player, really, really blowing up. He's got his own signature Fender, and just came out with his own signature Ernie Ball guitar, which is really cool. But Corey makes really, really good funk instrumental music, and he's just playing with absolutely the top musicians in the world. He's collaborating with John Batiste, and like just the list goes on and on and on. It's not like mainstream music, so and it's not like club music either. So I don't think
Gotcha.
DJs are really hip to him. But I strongly, strongly encourage you to check out his YouTube channel and follow him on Spotify or whatever. His music is
Cool.
fantastic. I find it, as a former DJ myself, to be like the most perfect like dinner background music ever. It's super
Okay.
upbeat, funky, and fun and instrumental.
So are
So it
you a Tower of
sets a
Power
mood.
fan too?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Tower of Power fan. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean anything funky. I mean it's Minneapolis.
Yeah.
That's the Prince in
Our
me. But
our old
the
friend Andy Eban was their webmaster. So
oh, okay.
before he passed, yeah. So lots of good stories about Tower of Power from him.
Well, shout out
So
to Corey Wong. Please, guys, go check him out. Like he's amazing. And to bring
cool.
that full circle, we're collaborating with Corey on an educational YouTube series called Everything Explained, where we dig into some pretty cool audio topics, things like the wattage thing that we were talking about,
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's a great watch, really
Great.
entertaining, and check that out for sure.
Is that
Cool.
Corey with the K or with the C?
Corry
Okay.
Wong, Wong.
Cool.
Very good. All right. Well, Mike, thanks for coming on. Shad, thanks for coming on, sharing your experiences at NAM and exciting new products. Like I said, for the most part, the people that are watching this, um, make sure you come out to the EV room next month at the MEX show. Make sure you stop by the Marquee show booth. We'll be out there as well. And that's it. Next week, I've got Matt Radicelli on our show talking about growing your business. And that's it. And folks, we've got the hotel locked down for Marquee 2025. The last week of June, we're going to be right by the airport again. So if you're flying in, you can take a shuttle bus right over to the hotel. We'll have all kinds of fun evening activities as well. Sadly, Mr. Blackburn will not be joining us this year as he's turning the big 4-0, and he is aged out of being relevant now in the DJ industry. Now, but he will be celebrating with friends and family, but you'll be missed, brother. And that's it. So remember, make sure you go to marqueeshow.com for all things Marquee, and we will see you all soon. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.